Well, hello everyone. Dan Hurd with Dan Hurd Prospecting here. Welcome back to my channel. And if you're new, welcome. I hope to earn your subscription today. As you can see, winter has a firm grip on us here in British Columbia, Canada. It is December 6th today, and we are deep in the snows and cold of winter. So today, we've got some indoor prospecting to do. I have a bunch of black sand concentrates from earlier in the year to go through and see what I have for gold. So wish me luck, and I hope you enjoy.
So a couple months ago, I got to do a video up at my buddy Tyler's big plaster operation. One of the steps in his cleanup is to take a magnet and run over his cleanup sluice as it's running and pull the larger chunks of magnetics out of the sluice. While doing that, it ends up pulling a lot of non-magnetics as well. Stuff like some of the pyrites are not magnetic, some of the other heavies are not magnetic, and it does trap a lot of gold as he's doing it and pulls the gold out as well. Now, he doesn't throw away the stuff he pulls out with the magnet. He goes through that and gets the gold out after the fact. But he actually gave me the whole lot worth of the magnetics that he pulled out with his magnet before he went through it for the gold, for me to take home and run through my magnetic separator and see how easy it would be to find the gold out of these magnetics. So this black sand right here, this stuff, yep, comes from the cleanup sluice at my buddy Tyler's big placer operation. And today we're going to run it through the magnetic separator from goldmagnets.com and see what we can find for gold, what got trapped in the magnetics, and see what kind of gold we can find. Woo!
And I have weighed it. It's about 7.5 pounds of, heavies in that pan there. And it should be able to go through that machine and separate out the gold, or the non-magnetics, separate out the magnetics, if you will, really quickly. So, the electromagnetic separator from goldmagnets.com. Let's give it a shot. And to give you an idea of how much this is magnetics, it is definitely mostly magnetic material in here. And it's mostly a coarse magnetic material because of how it was pulled out in the sluice. Anything finer magnetic would have been washed away at this point. And because it is mostly coarse magnetics, today we're going to set the machine pretty high. We're going to go up there. I'm going to try to get to 24 if I can. 24, fairly high, fairly fast, and we will be running through fairly slow. One more scoop, then let me explain what's going on here. Now what this machine is basically just a spinning magnet inside a tube. This here is this little small electric motor that down this central tube has magnets attached to a shaft that spin around. And there's a lot of engineering that goes on inside there because those magnets have north and south poles that are flipping back and forth, alternating. And as the north and south poles flip back and forth as it's spinning, the magnetics, not only are they getting sucked from one side to the other, they're flipping around a lot. They're jumping back and forth so that if there is any gold that is sort of stuck in those magnetics, it gets a chance to fall out. It falls out on this side, the magnetics get brought over to this side, The non-magnetics, like the gold and whatnot, will fall into one jar. The magnetics, like the magnetite or some pyrites, will come over the side into this trough here and fall out into that jar. It reduces the cons. It takes out all the magnetics. It's not giving us pure gold because in this mix here, there's far more than just gold that's not magnetic. When you're separating magnetics from a sluice or from your cons when it's wet, they often grab a lot of material that is not magnetic, like the gold. But you will see other things like garnets and just rocks and pyrites and all sorts of other things in there as well. And that is because the wet, gooey material can capture the gold. If a magnetic flake is magnetic particle is underneath the gold flake, as the magnetic particle lifts up, it can actually pull the gold flake with it and stick it into the magnet. And that's why just straight up using magnets to remove the magnetic black sand from your cons is not always the best idea, unless you have some method like that to actually do it without losing your gold. And just as a hint for anyone doing something like this, especially with dry material, because it's powdery, it's sort of, and I'm messy. I like doing this on a sheet or on something that I can easily sweep up afterwards, or in this case, I can take the sheet and fold it up. And you know, I just spilt, I was trying to get a camera going and I spilt some of this over there. The machine does kick out a little bit of material as it's falling through. If it doesn't make it into one of the chutes, it tends to kick out a little bit of material, so that too I can catch afterwards just with a sheet. So yeah, working on a sheet is a great idea. And you can get one at a thrift store, like dirt sheet, and then you just have that sort of safety to catch anything you drop. Anyhow, I'm having fun. Running dirt. I'm definitely gonna fill one of those. I'm gonna fill the magnetic jar, no problem. I won't fill the non-magnetic jar, but there's where all of the gold is, if there is any gold. So as I'm running the rest of this through the machine, I think now would be a great time to give my geology lesson of the day. What is in black sand, and is it all the same? Probably the best way to show you what's in the black sands is to take a pinchful and put it under the microscope. When asked, many miners will tell you that their black sands are made of magnetite, which is correct, but it is an oversimplification. Some of them will tell you that it is made of iron sands, which is more accurate, but still a big simplification. Iron sands are made up of magnetite and hematite, two oxides of iron. Yes, fancy versions of rust. We do also have these shiny, jagged pieces, which are pyrites, either iron pyrite or chalcopyrite. We will sometimes have these red gemstones. Those are garnet. Australia is really known for having tin in its black sands. And if you're lucky, you have the chance of having gold in your black sands as well. Well, this looks to be it. The last little bit going into the machine. Now, any of my spillover here, I'm just going to package all that up and throw it into the material I use for my, black sand pay dirt bags. This is a jar of basically pure black sand right there. Here's a jar of just the non-magnetics, though I will run that jar through one more time, just to make sure that, any times I overloaded the machine and some of the magnetics went straight through, they get caught. So I'll do that right now. And I just sifted off the oversized material from those non-magnetics, because some of these rocks are probably a bit too big to run through that machine. So, and they went through the first time, but I've just sifted them off. I'll put those aside for now, and then just run that through one more time and see if it gets any more magnetics out of there. Yeah, there's still some more magnetics. A couple times I put full scoop loads in all at once. What I notice is the machine just got overwhelmed. I was maybe pushing it too hard. Really quick to run through one more time and get the remainder of those magnetics out of there. Remember, not all black sand is magnetic. And the second run, all done. And there we be. There's the non-magnetic component. There's the magnetic component. And I just put this on my scale just as it was. It's not enough to even register on the floor scale I have. So I'm guessing that's half a pound of material. And you know, there's basically 7 right there. So now let's go see what we have in there. And a quick set change. Got the panning tub. This time in my garage, not my kitchen. Let's see what that material has in it. First, let's check it for magnetics. There's a few. Yeah, but oops, that's what I get rubbing it through that. That's what I would have got without. Anyhow, let's do this. Okay, I'm going to mount the camera so I can pan this out with 2 hands. So this here is looking like it's mostly pyrite now. Where black sand is, you know, iron oxide, pyrite is iron sulfide. Very few iron sulfides, very few pyrites are actually magnetic. There are a few, but obviously this stuff was not, and it's, you know, 1/10 the amount of material that we started with. So the magnetic separator reduced this, you know, by 90%. So a little bit of gold back there. Let's get it all back down to the bottom. Make sure none migrates over the front. Very slow process when you're panning pure sulfides like this. Usually the sulfides I pan are from crushed ore, hard rock. So it'll be interesting to see how, you know, flat placer gold works in sulfides. Pretty sure I see lots of it in there. Yes, this thing is just loaded in gold. Like crazy loaded in gold. Do a little bit more here and then I'll show you, I'll bring in the close-up to show you the gold that's in here. And maybe what I'll do is I will very gently pan it until I see some exposed. There we go, some's exposed. I'll bring in the camera, close-up camera to show you that. So here we are with a little bit of the gold exposed in those sulfides. Now this stuff is starting to wash out on top of the sulfides, and that's because the flakes are big and flat. The sulfides themselves are small grains. So the hydro equivalence, so the way it affects in water, is a little bit changed because the sulfides are grains versus flakes, like the gold. Let's see if I can get this on camera. It's all gold, just gold everywhere here. Look at that. All of that. Every last piece there is gold. I'm going to have to do this off camera for a bit to get it all in one spot for you. Well, this is taking a long time to do, but I'm getting there. And there we have it. The clean gold of the day. That's what was in those black sand cons. I guess that's about 1 gram. Let's go get the close-up on it, dry it out, weigh it up, and see what we've got. And if you're wondering at all about the funny colored gold I have here and the fact that you see some rust stains all over it, when I got this material, I left it sitting in a pan wet for way too long. And what happened is all that iron sand rusted, and I had one great big chunk of rust in my pan. I had to actually go and break it all up
And I ran it through my tumbler actually for a long time to break up the iron sand that all rusted together. And it's definitely stained the gold with this rust color.
Well, let's put that aside to dry for a little bit and see what's in the oversized material. Knowing the material this stuff came from originally, I assume there'll be some nice big flakes in here. Again, this is almost all just pyrite. I haven't seen any gold yet. There might be the first piece right there. Maybe. Watching very carefully doing this for gold. There's a good piece. There's a nice piece of gold. That's when I have to stop, is when I see pieces of gold coming up. The round grains of pyrite and the bigger grains of, hematite and magnetite in there really roll off a pan when they're sifted out like this. With all the fine stuff gone, the bigger pieces really roll and go away quite easily. I'll be able to pan this down in no time, unlike the fine stuff. There's that piece again. There's one that wants to come up to the front. Push him to the back. Oh, there's actually not much gold in here. Not much in the oversize. What do I got? 5 or 6 pieces. I'll pan that down a bit more. There we have it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 big pieces of gold. Maybe 6.
And the oversized pieces. We've got 6 oversized pieces. I'll put those in with finer stuff and start it all drying out. There we are. Just letting it cool off now. Just came off the stove. If you're wondering about those black specks in there, it might look a little bit blue on camera. Those are pieces of pyrite I failed to get out. If you were wondering about the red specks, those are gold flakes that have been stained with iron, stained with rust. Yes, I could have done a little bit better job getting the pyrite out of there, but really, when it comes down to weighing it, that much pyrite makes such a minuscule difference in the weight, because pyrite is so light compared to the heavy, heavy gold. That should be cool enough. Let's get it on the scale. And I'm thinking my initial guess of 1 gram is a little bit light on this. Yeah. 3.6 grams. And sure, there might be 0.1 of pyrite in there. So let's say 3.5 grams of gold salvaged from the black sands.
Not too shabby at all. Not too shabby. And if you are interested in a dry magnetic separator, check out miningmagnets.com.
Well, here I am, back in the outdoors to say goodbye. I really hope you enjoyed our little adventure there in the shop. If you did, please leave me that thumbs up. If I haven't earned your subscription already, I hope I earned your subscription today. And a big thanks to everyone for watching, especially my patrons. Because of the support of my patrons, I get to make these weekly episodes of Dan Hurd Prospecting. Hope you're all having a great winter's day. And until the next one, bye.